Welcome to the Soulard Technology Vanderbilt SMS training session. Today we'll be looking at Report Launcher. From the main menu, you'll select the Report Launcher icon. Report Launcher will be used to run reports, create reports throughout the system. As you can see, there are many different types of reports that you can launch. We'll go over a few of these. Two-person role history reports, access manager reports, alarm history reports, archive history, audit trail, card holder, database, evacuation, guest pass, redundant recovery, SMS diagnostic, and transaction history reports, and transaction history reports selected areas. In most cases, most users will use the cardholder reports. Within here, you can look at cardholder access by area with selected areas. You can look at unused card information, which is good to see if there's any cards that are in your system that haven't been used in a certain amount of time that you could delete out of your system to clean up your system. You can look at cardholder information if you want to get a list of active badges. You may also look at the database report if you want to see what areas are in area sets, holiday information, relay information, things like that. And then the one that you probably would use the most are transaction history reports. This can give you all access attempts by all devices, all card holders, selected card holders with or without the encoded ID listed, selected devices. You can look at the SIM to RC communication summary. This is a good report to see if your controllers are online and if they are dropping communication, restoring communication a lot. You can also look at the communication lost and restored to child controllers, which will show you transactions of when the controllers and the sub-controllers lose communication. The parent to child controller communication summary will show you if your sub-controllers are online. So that would be your gateways or your PIMs. And you can also look at lost and restored link to readers for selected readers or all your readers to see if you have any reader interfaces or locks that are consistently losing communication or losing connection to their controller. From the cardholder aspect, you can also see invalid access attempts. So within the reports, you have the main reports, which have the lightning bolt and the lightning bolt with the plus next to it, the green plus. If it is a lightning bolt only, that report you can simply run by saying launch report. And then when the pop-up comes up to select the date range, you can select the range that you'd want to look at. I'll leave this as today. This system I'm using is not a live system, so there won't be any reports or transactions generated. So if there's nothing coming through on your system, you'll see this. Otherwise, you'll see all the transactions from 12 a.m. this morning until now at every reader for every card holder you will see in this list. If you wanted to narrow that down, you can go to one of these lightning bolts with the green plus, and you can look at selected card holders, selected devices. So if we wanted to look at all the access attempts on the main entrance of the building, we would highlight this report, and because it has this green arrow or green plus sign, you can't automatically launch this report. You have to create a new report. We'll call this a test report for the main entrance. You can choose to launch this right after you create it, or create the sub report and then launch it from there. We'll leave this unchecked, hit next. And now it's going to prompt you to add the readers that you want to look at. If you were doing all access attempts selected card holders, it would prompt you to add the card holder or card holders that you're looking at into this section. So we will add the main entrance. There's a couple ways you can get to that. You can go to the controller tree and expand this if you know where it's at to get to the main entrance exterior. Highlight that and hit OK. You can also look at the reader section, find the main entrance exterior, hit OK, and then it adds it to this section. For now, we'll just have the main entrance exterior here. Whenever that's added, you have that looking how you want it. You can hit finish, and now it'll create this sub report. And you can see down here at the bottom that the main entrance exterior is added. So to run this report, you'll highlight the sub report and then hit launch report. Again, you will select the date range that you want to look at. We'll look at today. You can't have this span multiple days. You can have this starting Monday at midnight, going to today, which is Wednesday the 21st, through the end of the day. So it'll show everything up to this point. Hit OK. Again, my system's not online, so nothing is going to show up, but in yours, you would see every transaction for every card holder at this specific door. From here, if you wanted to, you could, if you have a printer assigned in SMS, you could print. So you would select this, select your, and it would automatically default to your default printer, and you could print. You can also hit this envelope to export, choose the type of report that you'd want to export, hit OK, and it would open up a window for you to select the specific location on your computer that you'd want to save that, and you could name it there as well. These reports are specific to the user that is creating them. So I'm logged in as the default user, so that report is going to stay there. If I was logged in as my specific user and I create this report, it would only show up under my login. It would not show up on another user's login. When they logged in and went to reports, they would only see the reports that they created, not the reports that I created. If you wanted to edit this, you could right click on it and hit edit report. Then you could edit the description of it. If you wanted to edit the readers that it's looking at, you could highlight that report, come down to the bottom half of the screen, and you can either highlight this current reader description, the main entrance exterior, and delete that selection. Or say we wanted to add the main entrance vestibule door as well. We could select that door, hit OK, and now they both are in there. So when we run this report, we would see the transactions for both of those doors. And again, if you wanted to delete the main entrance vestibule out of this, you would simply highlight it, delete that selection, confirm, and now we would be back to just the main entrance exterior. If you wanted to delete this sub report entirely, you can right click on it, delete report, hit yes, and now it deleted that plus sign and the sub report. You just want to be careful not to accidentally delete the main report. You can also right click on these to create a sub report. If you have the selected devices with encoded ID, again, a transaction, it will say the user that the card holder that swiped in at that door, and it will also list their encoded ID that they used. That can be helpful if a card holder has multiple encoded IDs. You could see which one they're actually using at that door. Like I said, the SIM to RC communication summary, you can, if you launch that report, it'll show you a list of, we'll keep this date range at this. It'll show you a list of your controllers, the last transaction date and time that was reported, the last reported status. Again, my system is not live, so it's going to say unknown. Yours will say online. If the controller is not communicating, it will say offline. If it's a new controller, it'll say unknown. If it is online, but you notice that this lost and restored transaction count is probably anywhere in the double digits, would be concerning. You would want to take a look at that controller because it's dropping communication and restoring, which signifies that it's either an issue with the network or maybe the controller is powering down, powering back up. But it signifies some type of controller communication or some type of issue with the controller itself. Other reports that you may run within the database, area by area set. If you launch this report, again, it will show the area sets, all areas. By default, it's going to include everything that you have created in the system. And then the next area set that you have, I have a total or a test area set created that has office doors in it. You will see that list as well. My system only has these 2 area sets and it's only 1 page. If it was multiple pages, you would arrow over here to go to the next page, the arrow with the line next to it to go to the last page. Cardholder reports. If you wanted to look at cardholder information, so if you wanted a list of active badges, you can go to this report, active badges, all cardholders, and launch that report. Some of these reports you may have to play around with to get exactly what you want. This report, for instance, if we expand this, this does list the users in the system and their encoded ID, credential type, activation date, whether or not they're blocked, expiration date. But there are some reports, if we looked at cardholder reports, all cardholder records, it will just show you a list of all the cardholders in the system, activation, expiration, but it does not list their encoded ID if that's what you're looking for. Unused card information. This is a good report if you're trying to clean up your system. If you launch this report, you could select this to have, say we wanted to look in the last year, so February 19th, 2023 to February 21st, 2024. Hit OK. This would show you all the card holders whose card has not been swiped within that time frame. Again, my system is not live, so none of these card holders have presented their card and got a valid or denied access. So all of my card holders in the system are showing up here. If they had used these, they would not be on this list, and it would only show the ones that are inactive and unused. And then you could go in there, confirm with HR that they no longer use their card, they're no longer employed, and you can remove them from the system. Some other reports that you may use, again, all access attempts, selected card holders. It's similar to selected devices. You would create the new report. We would create a test report, name it. So I'm gonna name it test and then say security. Hit next. I'm gonna add more card holders to this and hit find now to view all of them, or you could just type in the last name or first couple letters of the last name or first name to find the specific person. I'm gonna hold down Control and select security 1 and security 2. Hit OK. Now they're both added to that selection and hit finish. And now you can see I have my test security report. Both the security badges, card holders are in there. I could run this report, and had my system been live, I can select that date range and see what transactions they have. Other reports you may want to look at, contact transaction history. If you want to see if a lockdown button or other type of contact is getting pushed, you could look at that way. And parent to child controller communication summary, similar to the SIM to RC controller summary, is going to show you if your subcontrollers are communicating or if those are online. So you can see here it lists the gateway that we have programmed, the PIM that we have programmed. They're showing unknown because the system is not live, but in your system you should see online for both of those, and hopefully a low lost and restored transaction count. Like I mentioned before, there are a lot of reports, so it could be difficult to find, or you may have to run a couple different reports to get the one that you want to see. But there are plenty of reports in here, so you should be able to find any report that you want to look at. With reports, there are a couple other things that you can do. There is a report launcher service application. This is a application that's ran from SMS main screen to have this running in the background to automatically generate reports. You can also do report scheduler. If you open up this, you can schedule reports to be sent out to emails. You do have to have a default printer set up on the computer that the service is running, the report scheduler service. And then you can set up these reports to run at a specific time. So if you want to, you can come in here and you could select a transaction history report. Say you want all devices, all card holders, hit next. You can tell it when to run that report, how many days to go back. So if it's running Monday, say you want it to run for the previous week. So we'll have it go 7 days back, run the report at 8 a.m., hit next. Again, you have to have that printer default printer selected in the system and system settings to run these. And then you could enter an email addresses here. You would set that up and report scheduler service manager. You would set up your SMTP server URL and address, all that information, where it's coming from, email address, reply to, etc. And then you could run that. It does require the SMTP email address at this moment. But you could use those to run a schedule report, have those sent out on a weekly, daily, monthly basis. And then that concludes Report Launcher and other report applications. Please join us for our next training session.